my name is Dr. Ed Uthman. Just thought I would take a few minutes here during my coffee break and chat a little bit about the COVID vaccines. And I'm going to aim these remarks at my compatriots in the healthcare field. Not so much doctors because it's kind of preaching to the choir, but all my other coworkers throughout the hospital in various roles. It turns out that the COVID vaccines have been highly accepted by doctors, and at least 95% of practicing physicians have already been vaccinated. But the acceptance rate by other personnel in the same business, which is taking care of sick people, has not been anywhere near that good. And so clearly there's some concerns that we need to address, and that's what I'd like to do. First of all, those of you who work with me, you know where I am and I'm easy to find. If you ever want to talk about the vaccines or anything to do with COVID, just drop by and see me. The rest of you that are watching on YouTube, just put your concerns in the comments section and I'll try to address them. So there are quite a few myths going around about the vaccine. I think one flaw in the logic that I'm seeing is that people look at the risk of the vaccine versus no vaccine. And that's really a false dilemma. It's really, the question is the risk of the vaccine versus the risk of getting COVID. So the COVID virus is highly contagious. You will be exposed to it. It will make an attempt to infect you unless you completely isolate yourself from all of human society and never have any contact with anyone. So the choice is not between the vaccine and nothing, it's between the vaccine and COVID. So basically what the vaccine does is it uses one of two means to deliver a small amount of genetic material that was taken from the COVID virus. And that genetic material is capable of only one thing, and that's making a specific protein that the virus makes when it infects you. And then once that protein is exposed to your immune system reacts to that, develops antibodies and cell-mediated immunity against it. And that gives you a good degree of protection from infection by the actual virus when it shows up. So your choice is to have one small bit of viral DNA that codes for one protein that itself cannot do you any harm. That's your one choice. Your other choice is getting that protein that the vaccine makes and all the other proteins that the virus makes, and the fact that the viruses, unlike the vaccine, are capable of replicating inside your body and destroying your cells, producing an illness of varying severity, which can then go on and infect your patients and your coworkers and your family members and all your contacts. So that's your choice. So there's no choice that involves not being exposed to the viral RNA, the viral genetic material. That's going to happen one way or another. So do you want a good exposure or bad exposure? So here's a myth that I've heard, unfortunately, even from doctors, and even one pathologist was telling me this, and unfortunately, it's completely wrong because it's very misleading. So the narrative is, sure, the vaccine keeps you from getting sick or dying or being sick enough to go into the hospital, but it doesn't keep you from getting infected. So instead of getting infected and getting sick and going to the hospital where you're put on isolation and personnel are protected from you, you go about your daily life infecting everyone around you. So again, this is a false dichotomy because the vaccine, and unfortunately, this is something that hasn't been publicized very well, the vaccine does markedly decrease the incidence of being infected in the first place. Don't hear about that very much, but that is one of the properties of the vaccine. And there was a study recently released by the Texas Department of Health and Human Services, and it showed that the vaccine reduces the incidence of being infected in the first place by a factor of 13. So you're 13 times more likely to get infected without the vaccine than if you have the vaccine. So think of that as a choice.